Welcome in, everybody. It is Crux here with Crux of Crypto, and today we have a very special live stream. So we're going to focus on a couple different things. What we're going to start with is two different videos that I have that are going to be planned to come out this Friday and also Monday of next week. And then we're going to jump into the current state of the markets. So we're going to look at what this recent crypto pump entails, what I think it is, what it means going forward. And then after that, we're going to jump into what I think the biggest 7 crypto altcoins this next bull market that comes up, and I'm going to give reasons and explain live with you guys. So I'm going to have an Excel document open. I'm going to be giving my reasons, and then at the end I'll let you all have your rebuttal. So today for this live stream, it is you guys versus Crux, and let's have fun. Don't hold back in the comments though. I have thick skin. So again, right after I give the current state of the markets, my brief overview, I'll give a brief little Q&A session just to start getting a little feel from what you guys have. I'll give all 7 of my takes, the reasoning, and then we'll do the rebuttals before we wrap it up. So if this is your first time, I am a fundamental and an analyst. I specifically focus mainly altcoins, though I do always preach that Bitcoin is king in crypto. So most of your portfolios should be Bitcoin, and you should be acquiring more altcoins to acquire more Bitcoin as you sell going up. So none of this is financial advice. This is just us being an awesome community. You guys have been supporting the growth of this. I'm getting close to 4,800 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy for my first year as a content creator, and it's only up and right from here. So smash that like, and let's go ahead and jump into these two videos. So Ondo versus xStocks. This is one that my good friend Tim Warren, he talked to me about it. So xStocks, it is a first mover in terms of tokenization of stocks. And then you have Ondo Finance, which is about halfway through last year, they released Ondo Global Markets, which allows them to tokenize stocks. So I'm going to be dropping this video on Thursday. No, this one comes out Monday of next week. And then one that I have that comes out on Thursday is going to be this one. It's going to be Canton and XRP. You guys know I did a Canton versus XRP video, and it got a ton of feedback. I'm talking about there's well over 75 comments over there from very big YouTubers as well that are in those comments. And it was all about you have some people over here who are pro XRP, some people that are pro Canton, and then you have the people in the middle. And these are the people that I created the video for. They said XRP is not a direct competitor to Canton, and I agree with them. So I wanted to clarify what I meant by creating that video, and now everybody's takes will be said and heard. So again, this video comes out Thursday, so be on the lookout for this one. So let's go ahead and jump into the current state of the markets, and then I will read some of the questions you guys have. This is CoinGecko, my favorite website for analyzing data, but we have a good pump. We're up 0.6% on the day. Crypto has went from about 2.4 trillion up to about 2.62. So we're up and right, we're moving. We got a couple different altcoins like Pippin that are absolutely getting smoked. Stay away from those memes. Like right now is not the time to be playing in memes. But I'll be honest, I have a video that's coming out most likely the end of next week or even the week after. But I'm going to focus on what are the biggest coins to win in the Clarity, whenever the Clarity Act passes. And a lot of people are sleeping on meme coins. And let me just throw this out there. So the Clarity Act in its current framework says that if X amount of tokens is owned by the creators of the token, then it is deemed a security as opposed to a commodity, which is absolutely crazy because if we do the math on what meme coins are, 100% of the tokens are minted on day one, which goes to one wallet, which is a one founder. Therefore, by definition, if the Clarity Act passes today, meme coins will be considered securities. And this is absolutely huge. What does that mean? It means the current meme coins like a Pepe or a Doge have way less competition. So the issue with meme coins this last bull market and the ones prior is there's so much competition. Once Trump token came out, then you have some brand new token. Now we have Pippin. I just showed you right there. It's trending. These things keep on rotating from one bag to the next, and very few people win out. But if we only have a very limited supply of meme coins that get grandfathered in, because like the Pepes of the world and the Bonks, they would not have to adhere to the SEC, which is absolutely huge in terms of regulation. So yeah, to keep an eye out for that. Again, as an analyst, I always think with my own brain. So these are my own thoughts. Nobody else is really saying stuff like this because again, I don't rely on other creators. I rely on how I personally perceive data and I push it to you guys. So you're always going to get a fresh take here. Most of the time, you're going to hear stuff first for the first time on this channel, and that's why you should be subscribed. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump back into some of these other hot cryptocurrencies. We have BitTensor Tau. We'll talk about that one here in a little bit. You saw it on the thumbnail. That's definitely going to go in my list of 7 tokens. Hyperliquid's right under it, and then Aster. So whenever you have Hyperliquid, Aster, and Lighter all back to back to back, that means a ton of volume is going through these markets. These are the number 1, 2, and 3 perp dexes for that matter. And perp dexes are the new wave of cryptocurrencies. So are they doing more trading volume than, let's just say Binance, for example? Not even close. So Binance does almost half of all of the crypto trading on its centralized platform, including the DeFi markets. So Binance is a beast in the space, but we have these perp dexes. They are really, they're doing way more trading volume than the Uniswaps of the world and these things. So it's nice to see that DeFi is starting to get a lot of competition going there. So those are going to be your markets to essentially avoid the regulators for now, because again, they're decentralized and people have access to them. A lot of people don't want to go through the KYCs of the world. So all right, let's continue moving on. Bitcoin. Today, we're not going to talk much Bitcoin. Today is an altcoin friendly stream. So Solana, is that going to make my picks? I don't know. We will see here in a second. But again, you guys should be throwing down what cryptos you want to be part of this 7 list, and we will challenge them against my ideas, and we will formalize as a group what the top 7 cryptocurrencies going into next bull market will be. All right, let's continue going on. We got some Aave. I love Aave. We got some Zcash. Not a big fan of Zcash. Sui. Will Sui make the list? I don't know. Monad. So Monad, this is a project I recently covered in my Coinbase video. It was the only private sale that that Coinbase has had so far. So Coinbase has now offered not private sales. They allow certain tokens to collaborate with them and then give access to people with their Coinbase One membership prior to launching on their centralized exchange. And I also brought down, they are 1-for-1 currently for 2xing a cryptocurrency. I'm talking Coinbase here, 2xing a cryptocurrency after launching on their exchange, which is Monad. So in 48 hours, it 2x'd from its private sale price for the Coinbase One holder. So if you guys want to stay on top of stuff like this, I am constantly eyeballing what Coinbase is doing, and I'll be the first to let you know. So set those alerts now. Next up, we got Layer Zero. This is an awesome interoperability play that's actually growing out of nowhere. Last bull market, it was getting shredded to pieces, and it's good to see that like Cardano, for example, is starting to integrate this infrastructure to bridge into other crypto economies. So I love what Layer Zero is doing. This is a solid altcoin, and I definitely recommend some exposure. Again, none of this is financial advice. I'm gonna skip Vanar Chain. Don't be out in the top 900s trying to find the next big altcoin right now. Just stay away for now. Stick with the blue chips. We see XRP right here. That's a hot one. I always appreciate the XRP army out there. You guys have supported my movement for a while, and I support you guys in return. So, okay, that was very long-winded there. Let's go ahead and look at the fear and greed. We're sitting at a very fearful, extreme fear rather, and we have not deviated much from last live stream. Last live stream was actually extreme fear from now all the way to last month. So we're starting to get a little less fearful as today's pump happened. I don't think personally that this is this pump will be sustained. I think the 200-week moving average is going to be a very key support level. I see a lot of TA analysts or technical analysts talking very much about the $80,000 mark, anywhere between like 80 and 81K as being possible resistance before we start heading back down and right. So I'm still very firm believer of what the 4-year cycle has for us played out so far. And since October of last year, I have been right. You can go back, check my receipts. I called a top in October, and I think I'll call a bottom later this year. So make sure you're following this channel to get more information on that. But the fear and greed index is an awesome way to stay on top of when you should be DCAing. And as you can see, this is actually my favorite part of it. is you could see this graph here very rarely, maybe a couple times per year, you bottom out under 10, and that has historically been your best terms over time to be able to DCA into, this is Bitcoin in particular, but anytime you buy altcoins when Bitcoin's down, you usually do a pretty good job as long as the altcoin is fine. So, you know, if the fear is telling us to buy and it goes in accordance with your DCA strategy, then why not add both together? So if your DCA strategy is buy X amount every Y days, so buy $100 worth of crypto every 3 weeks, then why not add this to it? So as your bonus, anytime it's under 10, I'm going to throw in $1,000 or something like that. So there's a lot of different ways you can have different strategies, and that's what we teach here at the Crux of Crypto. But we also teach patterns. So this is what the Bitcoin monthly return is. I always look at patterns. And with the 4-year cycle, this is your most important metric on where we're going from here. So last live stream, I talked about a couple different times where we had 5 red months in a row. So going all the way back to 2011, we have right here 5 red months. Going up to 2018, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, this is actually 5. And then you got 6 up here going into 2019. So 6 red months in a row. For our current position, we are getting tore up. We have October red, November red, December red, January red, February red. Finally, March, we're getting a little bit of a pump. We're at about 12% in the green on March. But we're only about halfway through March, so there's a lot of time left still to be had. March typically, let's go back to the Bitcoin monthly returns. March as of late, so the second half of Bitcoin's life, has been more of a green month, but overall, as you can see, there's been a ton of red. So March is kind of like a hit or miss month, but April, look at all these green Aprils right here. I think overall April is going to be a pretty solid month. May looks like a pretty solid month as well, so there's hope. That's all I'm saying. All right. Very long-winded there. I got one last thing I want to hit. I want to share this moment with you guys real quick. So a lot of people ask, you know, Crux, you create all of this content. You're talking about all these different projects. I personally own over 75 different cryptocurrencies. I still do. You know, I've held a lot of them through this bear market so far, and I'm continuing to accumulate dry powder. So one thing I want to be 100% confident in, make sure you guys understand, is I'm in this with you guys. I'm not just creating content just to get views and clicks and likes. I dropped a video on 7 different methods on how I personally get $50 per day using the Coinbase application. And a lot of people, again, ask me, Crux, do you really do these methods? And I do. So today, in the mail, I just got my Coinbase One card. I talked about it, earning up to 4% back. You know, this is not a paid sponsor or anything, but I wanted to, excuse me, I wanted to share this moment with you guys. This is me opening the package with you guys. It's pretty cool. It has like a cool little Bitcoin. It has the abstract of the Bitcoin white paper on there. It's pretty dope. It says the electronic cash system as created by Satoshi Nakamoto. And again, this credit card will give me up to 4% back. So this is what it looks like opening it. It's a pretty cool metal card. So I'm very excited about this. Your boy Crux is going to be getting some pretty good rewards on this thing. So anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and read some Q&A sessions with you guys. See a lot of people in here. We got over 30 viewers. Nice. Wow. Ken, what up, Crux? Ada Ace, what up? What up, Ada Gang? Love you guys. Carl, salute Crux in chat. Hit that like button, says Ada Ace. Ricky Romero. He says, do you think the bottom for Bitcoin was in already, bro? Or will we sit and go lower? I feel like the bottom is in. Ricky, I'm like 70% confident. 70% confident that we are still in bear winter. So the bottom's not in yet. Say, you know, there's still 30% certainty there, but I'm not overly certain on that. And I've been that way for a while now. I've been 60% probable since October. And I've been about 70% as about, I think I dropped a video 2 months ago on the 70% call. So I've been super accurate. And that's typically what I'm good at, because I'm not a leverage trader, which for some people that's good. Some people like the short-term scalps. Our VIP trading group absolutely crushes it. Me personally, I am a long-term investor. So I follow the 4-year cycle. I follow month to month as opposed to like day to day, which is why I just brought up the Bitcoin monthly return. I did talk about the fear and greed, but the fear and greed also talks about the previous month. So I'm more of a long-term person, and I've been good at nailing these tops and these bottoms. I actually got 90% of my crypto last bear market sub 25K Bitcoin, and that's because your boy knows the 4-year cycles. So the issue is we see all of this macro news like Iran and all these things, and we try to bite on it, and it's tough. You know, if the markets have shown you a 4 out of 4 proven pattern, then why break the trend? You know, the probability of you beating it and, you know, beating it to the punch is slim to none. So that's why I don't think everyone should be aping all of their funds in, but DCing at these prices is fine. So I'm going to end it there. Thank you, Ricky, for asking that question. Layer Zero says Ada. Yep. Your boy Ada Ace, he watched my Cardano video and he was a fan of it. So we will see. I think Cardano is a super solid project. Will it make my top 7? We will see, because again, here in a second, I'm gonna go through my top 7 cryptocurrencies for next bull market, and then I'm gonna let you guys have rebuttals. I'm gonna get, you know, it's you guys versus me in this live stream, and trust me, I know what I'm talking about, but I'm not undefeated, so we will see. I have a Bitcoin miners to get more ADA. Actually, ADA Ace, I saw, you know, you were over in, I'm not gonna leak or dox your location, but you were in a prominent mining facility. So you know what I'm talking about. That's pretty cool, man. Keep on going. Love what you're doing over there with the space. Versace sleeping bag. I don't know how you don't have more subs with all the fire content you make. Versace, like, I don't want to sound too conceited here, but this channel is going to 100K plus subs by 2029. The only reason that my channel is not absolutely blowing up right now is because the price of crypto's down. Like, if you look at the verses and the deep dives, it's second to none. And again, I'm humbly speaking. I'm not like, this is what I focus on. I'm not the best TA guy. I'm not going to open a chart and show you guys with the highest probability of what's going to happen next. But I understand crypto better than, in my opinion, any YouTuber out there. And I'll you know, if you want, tag them in the comments after this, and I'll go live with any of them. We can go back and forth. They could show me their 7, and we can have a open discussion about it. So I write my own scripts. I do my own analysis. I do everything other than the editing on my videos. So I live, breathe, and eat cryptocurrency, and that's why I will be successful. All right, Cat in the Hat. Yo, Crux. What up, Cat? Get to catch the live, says Eve. So welcome in. So, I think most of you guys catch it after the live stream, which is cool. Stuff like this can go all week until my next Tuesday 4 p.m. Eastern Standard live stream, and it's still going to be good content. You know, these 7 picks from today all the way to next week is not going to change. So whether you're here live, you know, that's awesome. It's actually preferred. Appreciate you, but it's not needed. You know, so thank you guys again for the support. You know, if it's not live, always drop a comment, subscribe, share my content, and we are making a killing here at the Crux of Crypto. Check out the comments of any of my videos. It is nothing but just beauty. It's not people in the comments like freaking out that the macro tensions are getting crazy. Why? Because I tune a lot of it out. I talk about it a little bit, but I tune it out and I focus crypto. The so what? If Iran, we're over there for another 3 months, what does that mean for crypto bags? That's what I'm bringing to you. So I could sit here for 30 minutes to talk to you about what, you know, how oil's going to influence the price and all this. So what? We need to figure out we need to know what to buy, and that's what we're doing. So Strike Finance V2 Friday. So your boy Ada is shilling some of his altcoins over there. Shout out Ada Gang in chat. I see a lot of Ada Gang in here. So Angel, hi Crux with the sunshine, the smiley sunshine. Angel's having a good day, so you should be too. Link in Aerodrome, says Ken. Those are some good picks for a top 7, but we will see if those make my list. We will see here shortly. And I know I'm milking it, but I'll get here. It's 20 minutes past the top of the hour. It's not going to take me too long to go through my 7. But the real big part of this stream is going to be you guys on your rebuttals and the reasons why. So I can already see some stuff filtering in. You got your boy Ada Ace, Bitcoin, Knight, World Mobile Coin, Iagon, and then Rise. So Crypto Frost says Tau and Zebek Network are his picks. I know one of those is going to make my list. I'll tell you here in a second. And then Mike, I got that buy order on CAS at 0.017. Mike, you get a round of applause. 0.017 on Caspa. Oh, okay. So you got a fat buy order. I thought you said you got it. You actually got that order. All right. So, but you keep that buy order in. Maybe we get it. If Bitcoin goes down to 40K, then for sure Caspa's going to drop down into that 1 cent region. And your boy Crux is right there with you. He's going to be buying it, buying it, buying it. Like I said in October, all I've been doing, really, I bought a little bit of crypto in 2025, just a little bit. And really most of, like 90% of what I bought in 2025 was on October 11th, the day right after the biggest liquidation event in crypto history. So I got really good buys on the one time that I really did buy in 2025. I've been hoarding dry powder and I've been just ready. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. The 4-year cycles, it's not a numbers game. It's more of a time-based theory. And there's no higher probability than October being the bottom of this bear market. Next, the next highest probability would be Bitcoin dropping to $40,000. And that is based off of diminishing losses from a bear market peak to a cycle bottom. So your two highest probabilities is either October of this year being a bottom or a $40,000 Bitcoin. Your third would definitely be whenever the long-term holders and the realized price meet. So I share this in one of my videos recently. And then you also have the 200-day moving average whenever we also hit those in the bear winter. So there's quite a bit of different things. There's like 5 different indicators that I'm pretty certain on the best times to buy crypto in a bear winter. So don't just aimlessly buy stuff, at least DCA if you're going to. I talked about the fear and greed. That's another strategy. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to what most of you guys are waiting for. So Crux's top 7 picks. Let me go ahead and switch up the screen. Alrighty. So we're going to do this live here with you guys. Give me 1 sec. Get some water. This is your excuse me. This is your reminder to be drinking water. All right. So Crux's top 7 cryptocurrencies. First, we got over here number 1. I'm going with Solana, and let me explain why before I move on to my second pick. So Solana is a layer 1 cryptocurrency. It is absolutely crushing it. If we look at the trading volume by DEX, we're talking $70 billion in the month of March, or the month of February, sorry. The last month, $70 billion in a bear winter. What? That is absolutely crazy. Solana is second to none in terms of trading activity. You got Radium, you got Let's Bonk.fun, you have Jupiter, you have so many solid projects over there that are allowing the transfer of cryptocurrencies amongst each other. And all your hottest wallets from Phantom Wallet, etc., are allowing you to transact at sub pennies. You're talking 200 transactions in a single for a single penny. So Solana, this network is absolutely crazy. So let me go ahead and write this in as I'm saying it. So you have fast, TPS, semi-fast finality. What do I mean by this? So transactions per second is how fast transactions can go per second on a network. Now, finality means from one wallet to another, and it can't be retracted. So a TPS can show from one wallet, from one block to the next, or how many transactions can happen per second, but it doesn't mean it's final. So there's a lot of cryptocurrencies out there that have fast TPSs but low finality. Finality is a more important metric. So I'm just going to say it has a semi-fast finality. It's on average of anywhere between like 10 seconds to 15 seconds to finalize an order. So if you're standing there waiting for 15 seconds for your coffee, you let's just say you swipe a card, you wait for 15 seconds. I think that's a little too long, but they have a fix. So we're going to call this fix the Alpenglow hard fork. So that is yet to be determined on when that's going to launch, but there's been an overall consensus with their community. It's going to eventually come to be. So that's going to fix the finality issue with the remaining fast high TPS issue. And then we're going to throw a dash in here and put a $70 billion per month DEX volume, which is by far the craziest thing we see in crypto. And then also what I'm going to do is show you guys the Solana chart. So the Solana chart is, let's get busted up only really because it did extremely well this bull market. And we're sitting sub $100. Crazy, 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 crazy. So we are down just under 67% or so from its all-time high. And overly, this is not a bad looking chart. This is multiple bear winters, and it's doing fine in my opinion. So there's nothing crazy that's going to send this thing to a point where it can't recover. So I like Solana. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. So I'm going to do each of these probably be about that quick. And then once I get through all 7, we will challenge what I have put with whatever you have. So, and keep in mind, these 7 picks are going to be what the general population should be holding. So if you're like part of a community and you have this very special cryptocurrency, just hold it for maybe another live stream. This is for top 7 for most people in crypto. So let's go ahead and go back to number 2. We're going to have Tau, BitTensor, Tau. Crux, why is this one on your list? Well, many reasons. So first of all, I like proof of work networks. Proof of work means you're allowed to mine with electricity and hardware as opposed to just generating cryptocurrencies out of thin air. So proof of stake networks, that's what they typically do. And it's not always bad if in a lot of ways, proof of stake is actually better than proof of work. But in this case, I think when we're talking about decentralization and compute in terms of what intelligence is, Tau is by far the clearest winner in this space. Your boy Crux has a ton of Tau, and I'm going to continue accumulating this project because they have over 145 different subnets ranging from GPU sharing to large language models to AI agents to all of the hottest niches in the space. So their tokenomics and their emissions resemble the Fourier cycle that Bitcoin created. One difference between BitTensor Tau and Bitcoin is Bitcoin focused mainly on Moore's law, which talks about every 4 years the number of transistors double within a GPU chip, as told by, I think, the creator of Intel. And what is the other? Metcalfe's law. So Metcalfe's law actually is trumped by Reed's law. And Reed's law essentially states it has the network of networks approach because it has subnets, right? So with Bitcoin, it has its laws are basically stating that as people leave like an inflationary network such as the US dollar, they're going to gravitate towards what is actually doing better in terms of returns. But whenever you have all of these different, and this is specifically for the monetary system. So think of the dollar. The dollar is being replaced by Bitcoin. That's 1 for 1. Whenever we have artificial intelligence, we have everything getting replaced from insurance to phones, like data's, to, again, all these subnets are just absolutely crushing it from large language models. And this, again, is a network of networks. So it exponentially, by definition, should outdo Bitcoin. I don't know why this is popping up. Excuse me. All right, there we go. All right, so let's go back to this screen here, BitTensor Tau. What are the reasons it's number 2 on my 7? And again, this is in no particular order. So I don't have like Solana overall. This is just my 7 general ones. So Tau is a proof of work network. 145 plus subnets that require a good amount of capital to create, by the way. So you can't just sprout your own subnet. Requires high capital. You have high VC behind this. So if you listen to the All In podcast, people like Chamath Palihapitiya, or if you know anything about Grayscale, Barry Silbert, who is actually he's a CEO, I don't know if he's a founder of Grayscale, is very bullish on BitTensor Tau. So you have a lot of VC behind this. So I think there is a solid opportunity that BitTensor Tau is going to do very well going into this next bull market. All right, number 3. Sure, you guys already know where this is going to go, but Caspa. I have to give a shout out to Caspa. This is going to be the wild card. So, yes, earlier I said that everybody should be holding these cryptocurrencies. This is the one that sticks out to me. That's like, all right, it's not in like the top 30 or whatever. I get it, but it has the most potential. And again, I've done over 50 different deep dives with different projects all over crypto, from proof of work to proof of stake to all these different Ouroboros consensus model, all these different things. And your boy Crux is highly convicted on Caspa. And the reason I'm super convicted on Caspa, here we go. We've got a proof of work network similar to BitTensor Tau. But what different? Why is this proof of work network different? So first of all, it is going to focus more on like Bitcoin's peer-to-peer, so peer-to-peer as a medium of exchange. So Caspa is Aramaic for silver. And this is, again, your medium of exchange. If I want to buy coffee, I need to get it quickly. I need to get it for cheap. And there is no better proven proof of work currency in the world than Caspa. So we have something called a blockchain trilemma, which was coined by Vitalik Buterin, saying that there's no network in the world that can scale without sacrificing decentralization, security, or scalability. Caspa has the best means of approach at this, right? So, for example, let's talk about Ethereum. Ethereum, it has very good decentralization. It has very good security. It's actually top 5 in these two things. But then its scalability, it offloads its scalability to its L2s, which essentially means people use the L2. And then if people are using the L2 to transact, it means you lost the security and the decentralization in order to transact within that network. And that is an issue. So that's an example of how the trilemma works. But with Caspa, everything is built on the layer 1. So there is no side chains. Like, for example, Cardano, they're kind of relying on Midnight at this point for their privacy chain. Like, all of these networks are kind of bridging. They're trying to become interoperable. They're trying to work with other networks. Caspa is doing everything on the layer 1. And they're also creating the new technology that bypasses certain things, like having to use a rollup. So it's absolutely crazy. vProgs is crazy. ZK Covenants is crazy. They're bringing SilverScript to the network, which is a new programming language. Like, to me, I'm just super convicted on it. I think Caspa deserves a spot in my top 7. And all right, so also, one of the key reasons I haven't even talked on is 2 different hard forks in 2026 alone. So whenever DAG Knight comes out, which is going to be later this year, you're going to get a hard fork, and that's going to bring the BPS, or the blocks per second, from 10 blocks per second to 30. So essentially, the throughput is going to go 3 times faster than it currently is. And by the way, Caspa set the record for the most transactions in a single day and per second on a live network. It was 150 million transactions in a single day under. It was a coordinated test environment. So these weren't technical transactions. So I'd always got a caveat as a disclaimer. But again, that's still very impressive. Yeah, so DAG Knight is going to make that even 3 times faster. Without a layer 2, it's on the main layer. And then what is the second one? Second hard fork is coming from Covenants, I believe. So Covenant Plus Plus, essentially it adds the programmability of the network and how that's going to come to be. So Covenants will make it easier for vProgs to do their thing, which is essentially computation off-chain, and allowing it to settle on-chain without sacrificing composability or sovereignty. So Caspa, you got it. So 2 hard forks in 2026. So that means the network's going to be ready to go next bull market. All right, I'm very long-winded there. Let's go to the next cryptocurrency. We're going to have Sui. I'm going to get a lot of slack for this one. All right, Sui. Why Sui? Because if we look at the last bear market, we had Solana, and Sui has been always known as like Solana's younger brother. That's kind of like the meme at this point. Every single thing from the way it was formed. So we'll go with VC formation, the same way that Silicon Valley raised Solana. You have ex-Meta engineers that raised Sui. So Sui brought to the table what we call is parallelization. Hopefully that spell checks with the Move programming language. So this programming language is object oriented, which means it moves differently. You're able to use these objects differently in recursive, as opposed to how like, let's say something's built in like Python or JavaScript. I mean, you can have objects in those programming languages as well, but having efficient smart contract programming languages like a Rust or a Move programming language is highly beneficial for a network in terms of scaling. And that's actually, going back to Casper for a second, how DAG comes to be. So Rust is being rewritten on Casper's network instead of Golang. And Golang is kind of like it's a pretty good programming language for a basic blockchain. But if you want to get to the highest level, Sui, you created the Move programming language, and it's really just the best in slot right now. So it's up there with Rust. I would say right there with Rust, even. Both smart contract focused programming languages. What else do I want to say about Sui? Oh yeah. If we know anything about Solana last bull market, it did very well. So you see it did well last bull market. It went all the way down here to like $13. And this was based off of Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX. So FTX was highly tied to Solana Ventures, etc. And people got fudded out of this bag. And I actually had like $4,000 worth of Solana. I didn't even know about it. It was in some random wallet. I played this game called Steppin, which was a big NFT project. You could run around and collect like a passive token that you could sell. Anyways, Solana did horrible last bear market, and then it ended up actually making a new all-time high this bull market. So I actually think what's going to happen with Sui is we had that initial run-up. All this bear market is going to do for Sui is all those venture capitalists who have a large exposure of the token, because again, the tokenomics are egregious on Sui, but this is where it weeds out those people. Those people were buying tokens way over there before this bull market at fractions of what it went to. So they're going to be selling on the way down. It's going to clear everything out, and it's going to allow Sui to thrive as just a normal ecosystem without the VC pressure. And I think whatever happened to Solana in its first bull market is going to happen to Sui in its first bear market. So let's go ahead and add that to it. So resembles Solana. And I'm sure everybody here wishes they bought more Solana in the last bear winter. So that's why I'm saying buy Sui now. Last bull market was Solana's first, and this is Sui's first. So just too much of a mirror there. All right. Now, next up is going to be Canton Network. CC is the ticker. And I'm switching from smart contracts. There's a lot of diversification here. We have Solana and Sui are pretty similar, but then Tau is a artificial intelligence network. Caspa is its own proof of work network. Canton is your RWA play. So I added Canton to this list mainly because of their DTCC partnership. So Canton has over $300 billion unverified. So let me just throw that disclaimer out there. Over $300 billion in tokenized real world assets on their network, which is by far the most in terms of tokenization of assets. Now, how they came up with this number is they have all of these different partnerships, from like BNY Mellon to who else? JP Morgan. No, not J. I don't want to throw that in there. BNY. Who is the? Oh, Goldman Sachs. The BNY, Goldman Sachs, and all these other partnerships. And they basically just took the valuation of what they already have tokenized and added it to theirs. So I wouldn't consider that exactly to be like the holy grail network yet, but Canton is highly slept on. It didn't have enough time this entire bull market to really flourish yet, as it is a private network. So instead of like XRP, for example, where your rails are public, where me, you, Ada Ace, whoever's in here can transact between each other for at 1500 TPS for about 200 transactions for a single penny. XRP is highly scalable. It's effective and efficient. But Canton is not built for that. Canton will not allow me to send money to Ada Ace. It forces you to do KYC and know your customer in order to use their network, which means it's going to be not very congested. The people that need to use the network are not only the people that are keeping it decentralized, they're the runners of the nodes. It's highly centralized because of this, but that's okay. So Canton is, I think, going to be a huge winner, especially after the Clarity Act. And I would not leave it off of a top 7 list right now. What I'm personally waiting for is a sub 10-cent Canton. So I personally don't own any Canton yet. I'm risking it. I'm wanting this to go to 10 cents. Let's go ahead and open this up real quick just to see where it's at. Probably closer to about 15 cents right now. It is sitting at 15 cents. So whenever Canton, again, it's a new project, I'm needing this to drop because it's only about 20% down. Let's see. It was 18 cents. It's only 15. So it's barely even down from its all-time high. Come down here and check. It's about 20% down from 19-cent all-time high about a month ago. So I need this thing to cool off before I personally dip in. But if it gets to 10 cents, I am buying a ton of Canton. And it's really just an asymmetric bet. You have probably the best partnerships in all of crypto. It is up there rivaling. It's better than XRP's partnerships. The only one that might be on par would be Avalanche. Avalanche has some insane partnerships. Yeah, so Canton, and it's only at like a 5 bill market cap. So I highly recommend you guys start learning a little bit about this one. And if you don't know much about it, which one? This video again is going to come out on Thursday. I'm actually going to script it right after, record it right after this. So I'll be editing it tomorrow, and then Thursday it goes out. You'll learn a lot about Canton. And speaking of XRP right there, that is going for my next token, XRP. So, and real quick, before I move on to that one, let me go ahead and throw in Canton here and why it's going to make it. So 300 billion plus in TVL coming from real world assets, plus you have a private network of the biggest players in crypto. So that quickly sums up Canton. DTCC, you're talking traditional rails that are already running things. Next we have XRP. So XRP is the exact opposite. This is the liquidity layer for what this partnership is. So this one is going to be highly controversial as well. And I know there's a lot of XRP army in here. If you have some XRP, throw up X's in chat. The reason I added this one to this list is mainly because of the potential, right? So I just released a video. It has Charles Hoskinson over here. He's talking about how this Clarity Act is not pro crypto. It's against new projects. They're gonna have to face the SEC. He thinks there should be more DeFi language. I'm over here with Charles. I agree way more with Charles than everybody else. We have Brian Armstrong in the middle. He is fighting for stablecoin yield. And then we have Brad Garlinghouse over here with the banks. So Crux, how could you be pro Cardano and pro XRP? Well, it's because I swim with the whales. So if I feel like something's going to win, I'm going to put my money there, even if I don't 100% agree with it. And I know a lot of people are going to be turned off by that. I get it. And I mean, honestly, there's no bigger supporter of crypto projects than me. Again, I have over 75 different projects. I allow no cults to exist in this community. So yes, I have a lot of Cardano followers, Caspa followers, Tau followers, Sui especially, but there's no cults. There's no like Crux of crypto is Caspa over everything. It's not like that. And I prefer that because I love discussion and I like learning. Anyway, so let's move on to why XRP is on this list. You have a, so in line with banks. Plus, you have 300 million in stablecoin volume. So I just said XRP is supposed to be the settlement layer for what Canton, or really just the settlement layer of where we're headed, right? They were the big dogs. They had the huge lawsuit against the SEC. They created the blueprint on where to go from here. So there's a lot of homage that is owed to XRP. On the other hand, moving back to this script, $300 million in stablecoin volume is a drop in the bucket. That's not going to do anything. I just showed you Solana moved $70 billion in the past month. XRP is going to have issues if it cannot get its RLUSD trading volume up. And I think, no, it's actually 400, sorry. So 400 million in stablecoin volume, but 300 million of that is coming from RLUSD, which is their main stablecoin. So if you're going to be the settlement rails for global payments, you're going to need way more volume. So that's going to be my big caveat on this one, is if you're looking to be the liquidity layer, you need to figure that out. So they're having issues over there. If I bring up, let's go ahead and bring it up while I talk you through it. So go back to, let's just open a new tab. Let's go DeFi Llama. The DeFi Llama as an analyst is my favorite platform to use. It can quickly allow me to reference this. We'll check out the XRPL right here. The XRPL is essentially a decentralized, it's a DEX. Think of it as a layer 1 DEX. The entire network's a DEX. It only has $50 million in total value locked, very little, but Crux, it is a global payments network. It doesn't need TVL. I completely agree with that. But as I go down to the stablecoin market cap, which I just told you, it is about $400 million. That's not enough to be a global liquidity layer. You have your DEX volume over there. It's pushing about 4 million in a day. That's not enough for a global liquidity layer. But why did I add it to my list? It's because the potential, that is literally it. The potential, the potential, the potential. Brad Garlinghouse is over there. He's, fighting on behalf of what is needed going forward, even if it isn't like super crypto friendly. I think his project is going to get the green light, and I don't want to be left without a bag. So that's why it's added to my list. And I'll go ahead and add that last caveat point. So plus, regulators love it. All right. This is where it's going to get crazy. I got some Ada gang in the chat. I got some XRP army in the chat. I got Link Marines in the chat. I saw a couple Link shout outs in there. Crux, you got one more. This is my list of 7 projects that I think everybody should be holding going into next bull market. And Hype, HYPE as the ticker, is going to make this. Now, go ahead and start throwing it in the comments because I know you guys don't agree with this list. Before I explain Hype, throw it in the comments, and I'm going to go through each of these with you guys, and we're going to compare and just figure out which one should be taken off of my 7 and then which ones should we keep. And we're going to formalize this as a community. Again, not all of us are going to agree on the same thing, but we'll have a general consensus. All right, so pitch me on Hype. Crux, I've never heard of this project. Why is it on your list? Let's go back to DeFi Llama real quick. So Hype, HYPE is a ticker. Actually, I got a better way to do this. Let's compare it. So I could just show you the chain, but why show you the chain when I can go into, maybe it's custom dashboards. Okay, so DeFi Llama definitely switch this one up. Let's go back up to the top. Let's type perpdex by protocol, perp volume by, let's go perp volume by protocol. Let's see. Boom. All right, here's a good one. I don't know if you guys can see it. All right, Hyperliquid sitting at about $8.5 billion in just the past 24 hours. If you know anything about the October, I want to say it's October 6th or 10th. You guys let me know in the comments. When was the big day that Binance got exploited through the smart contract, Oracle, to allow the biggest liquid, essentially setting the peak in for crypto? The whale that allowed all that manipulation to happen had most likely had access to the White House, Binance information, and used Hyperliquid for the liquidity. So Again, this is by far going to be your best network for trading volume. And everybody's going to the perp dexes because you don't need KYC, such as like using a Coinbase, for example. You have to know your customer. You have to give them all your information to use a network. These you don't. So Hyperliquid sitting at just under 10 billion in a single day, which is like that every single day. It's wild. Aster starting to fall off just a little bit. Just a little bit. I love Aster. I like Lighter. So Hyperliquid I love. Aster I love. Lighter I like. So there's a difference there. Those are going to be your top three. Hyperliquid is absolutely crushing it at the #1 spot. They already had their bull run to ride. Aster didn't. Aster didn't launch until like October of 2025, so it didn't really have much time. So we're really going to have to see going forward. Now, if you wanted to replace Hyperliquid on this list with Aster, that's fine. It's going to be the more risky one, but it has a higher reward. I like the tokenomics a little bit more, actually. But the reason I chose Hyperliquid is because I think most of you guys shouldn't be taking that risk. I think you should be sticking with this one. And there's provable, verifiable data. There's fees that are being collected on this network. It's awesome. There's tons of trading pairs that can rival some of your centralized exchanges. They're not as good as, clearly not as good as Binance. But if we were to even compare this against Binance in terms of 24-hour trading volume, Hyperliquid is doing more than it'd probably put in the top 5. So let's go ahead and look real quick. All right, so 8.5 billion. Let's go over here to CoinGecko, come to exchanges, and then go to crypto exchanges, which are going to be your centralized ones. And then we'll filter this by 24-hour trading volume. Look, I don't know what CoinUp is, but they're absolutely crushing it today. These are going to be your top exchanges by 24-hour volume. Binance is #1, even with it. CoinUp is 2, but even over the third centralized exchange, Hyperliquid's beating them in 24-hour trading volume. So absolutely crazy. We finally have a decentralized network that is competing with the best centralized exchanges that exist. So go ahead and give my reasons here. So I'll just say 10 billion plus per day in volume, decentralized, and also let's just say Silicon Valley. So we'll just go VC. So they're very much in there with the same crowd, like the Arthur Hayes and the Barry Silberts and the Silicon Valley crowd. Hyperliquid's up there. So, all right, you just heard my whole list of 7 different cryptocurrencies. I'm sure you guys are fuming in the comments because yours did not get picked. So let's go ahead and jump into the comments and compete. So I got 55 of you guys. Dang, I haven't had this many people in a long time. So you guys are loving it. The alpha is being dropped. And again, find another content creator that knows this much about crypto, and you can go subscribe to them rather than my channel, but you're not going to find it. They might have different opinions that you agree with, but they don't know more about crypto. So, all right, I'm going back up. Got a lot of, all right, I'm trying to figure out where it stopped. Hey, Crux, great show and content as always, says Ross. Appreciate you, Ross. Still one more big drop to go, so Ken agrees. Just arrived. Good afternoon. So what are your top 3 alts to buy? I just answered those. How much Caspa is enough for the long-term holding in your opinion? I think if you can get your hands on like 10,000 Caspa, which is fairly cheap at these prices, I think you should be fine. So remember, like you're probably laughing because a couple $1,000, whatever. People were freaking out when Bitcoin hit $100, $200, and they're like, should I sell? Man, if you would have put $1,000 at that $100 Bitcoin, you would be absolutely crushing it. So that's how I play it. I would not have over 10% of my portfolio in something speculative like Caspa. I'm gonna just be honest with you. All right, so keep, the diversification heavy. Keep the diversification heavy. Mainly Bitcoin. Ethereum's cool. Solana's dope. XRP's awesome. Chainlink's cool. These are going to be your big winners. But yeah, diversification. I'm here for every live. Yeah, Mike. Appreciate you, Mark. Plus, you throw the comments in there, so that definitely adds engagement and allows me to grow. So appreciate you. Good afternoon from Laredo. We got some Laredo, Texas. I'm in El Paso, Texas, so I've been to Laredo many times. I'm actually thinking that next time I'm in Dallas, I should throw another meetup with you guys, which would be pretty cool. Actually, this weekend, I will be headed to Tampa, Florida for our quarterly meeting. So If you know, you know. All right, just got here. What I miss? V Hunt. You can always go back and check it out. Uh, my top three is Solana, SKR, and then XRP. All right, so let me see how many guessed it right at the end. So creative. Let's go through creatives first. Creative says Solana, Link, Tau, Cas, Bitcoin, ETH, and Hype. All right. So Solana we agree on. The reason Link did not make my list, I love Chainlink. It is a top 3 cryptocurrency by fundamentals. Peer-to-peer network, Bitcoin, smart contract language, Ethereum, Oracle, real-world data aggregator, Chainlink. Sorry, tried to throw that one in there with some emphasis, but the tokenomics, man. If you study crypto the same way I do, I look at the ins and the outs. And if I look at the tokenomics of Chainlink, they are egregious. They are some of the worst that's ever been created in all of crypto. We're going all the way back to 2017 or so, which people did not understand what tokenomics should be at that time. So nowadays, people know, like, if an Aster launches, 60% of that's probably going to go to the community. 20% will go to the team, 15% to the treasury, whatever. Okay, you get it. Chainlink, on the other hand, has multiple things I disagree with, not just the tokenomics. Like, I want to say 60 to 70% of those tokens went to a handful of people. I'm talking less than 20 people. So super centralized for that type of network. But more importantly, they limit the amount of link tokens that can be used to stake on their network to governance. So it is probably the most centralized network in all of crypto. Chainlink is, because two things. Too much of the tokens went to a small amount of people, and then the ability to cap how much you can use for validation or like run validator pools. For example, like Cardano is one of the most, if not the most, decentralized networks. They're like, you guys go out, run your nodes, let's have fun. Chainlink's nope. We'll allow 75 million tokens or whatever the cap is, and nobody else can stake. So I just don't agree with some of that stuff that they do, but I do think that Chainlink is going to be a huge winner. So if I had to hold like 10 cryptocurrencies for the next 20 years, Chainlink is easily in there. So I love Chainlink, but I would not add it to my top 7 list. I still think there's going to be some more sell-off pressure in this next cycle. So maybe the one after that, maybe going into like 2029, we have a bull market peak. 2030, possibly we go into another bear winter. Hopefully not. And then maybe after that, there's enough Chainlink that has been sold off. All right, Tau, we agree with that one. Caspa, we agree. Bitcoin. So I talked about Bitcoin. I'm not adding it to this list, even though I think you should be holding more Bitcoin. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that one. Ethereum. Okay. The reason Ethereum is not, and I'll bring my list back up here while I talk about it. The reason Ethereum is not going to beat any of these 7 on my personal list is because Vitalik Buterin has come out with his roadmap, and it's not until 2030 where he thinks the main layer will replace most of what the layer 2s are doing. So if you know anything about Ethereum, 1% of the total transactions currently happening on the L1, and 99% are happening on L2s like Arbitrum, Matic, Base, etc. So that network is super fragmented in its current state. Therefore, it is competing against its own ecosystem, which is exactly why it barely set a new all-time high. It didn't even get to 5K last November 2021. It got to like 4,800. So it barely set a new all-time high this cycle, and it was because of the fragmentation. It was the optimisms. It was all these other networks that people were investing in. Therefore, until the scaling solutions could stop being a parasite to the network, I'm not going to add it to my top 7 list. So, but that is a good take. I'll be honest with you. All right, let's continue to move on and challenge. Again, right now, you guys are challenging Crux. This is Crux's 7. Which ones do you prefer to go on this list as opposed to mine? We'll bless off on it at the end. 52 people here and under 20 likes. Hit that like button. I agree. You should definitely be hitting those likes. DeFi says Portfolio. So Portfolio says DeFi is highly underestimated. My money is in Flare Network. Oh, that's a good one. So Portfolio, I like Flare Network. I like interoperability. I like its ties to XRP. I think Flare Networks is actually trying to do something with Bitcoin. So Flare Network it's a pretty solid project, but I'm not going to throw it in my top 7, just too speculative. But DeFi, I also agree that it is highly underestimated. If I had to throw a DeFi project on here, it would clearly be Aave. If I go back here, and if I go to, let's just go home, right? Hit the home page, hit Ethereum. We're at the big dogs. We're sitting at 60 billion in TVL on the highest network in all of crypto, which, by the way, is about 50% of all tokenized, everything tokenized is on Ethereum. Aave is number 1. We're sitting at 22 billion, which is actually a pullback from 35 billion back in like October of last year. So Aave has pulled back, but is still by far the king in terms of what DeFi is. It's the ultimate borrowing and lending platform. And earlier I talked about Bitcoin being peer-to-peer, Ethereum being smart contract, Chainlink being an Oracle network. Your fourth is going to be your borrowing and lending network. So Aave is right there behind the Chainlink in terms of overall use case. And I can prove it by showing you the value. So I love Aave. I like Uniswap. And those are much safer than a Flare network. So if we're going to go DeFi, just be, don't take too much risk. You should have more Aave than Flare. All right, go back into some comments. Sorry, XRP. I replaced with hype. Okay. Creative. Replace CC with XRP. This is Crux's list. Well, I have both of them. So, and also my video that comes out on Thursday talks about, let me bring that up real quick. Boom, boom. This video talks about why Canton and XRP are going to do well, I think, this next bull market. So if they're both on my list, and if you don't understand completely why I haven't sold it to you yet, you're going to have to wait a couple days, but you will see why. All right. See a couple messages retracted. I bought, well, probably because I said the token that you wanted to replace before I finished my list. So I bought a small amount of Kita today, just under 20 cents DCA on that one. Kita is going to be a big winner, way higher than I thought. I like Kita. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it right now. We're talking about my 7 picks, but I think you did a good job on that DCA at 20 cents on Kita. I'm with you, Mike. Kita, 65% of my portfolio, says Mr. J. Mr. J. Mr. J. 65% of your portfolio in Kita. All I got to say is be very careful. I like Kita. It's a solid project. I'd say 1% of my portfolio is in Kita. Just be careful is all I'm going to say. And here's the issue with crypto is a lot of people try to get too rich too quickly. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. If you follow the 4-year cycle theory like I've been telling you guys since 2020, you would understand. I called the bottom, at least close to the bottom, sub 25K, last bear winter. I called the peak this bull market, and I think I'm going to call the peak of this bear winter. So I'm just super good at calling these tops and these bottoms of the macro. Now, don't tell me where the price can be next week, because that's not what I do. Kita, it's a good, solid pick. Angel, keep clicking that like button, please. We're trying to help Crux with all he does here. I appreciate you, Angel. You are awesome. I have a small amount of CC, less than 1K. Well, you got more than I do because I have 0 CC, and I hope I don't regret it because I'm not buying at these prices. Now, in the grand scheme of things, 5 billion market cap is peanuts. It's peanuts, right? Like Dogecoin, 75 billion in May of 2021. You have Elon Musk on SNL. He pumped the token artificially just due to buy the rumor, sell the news. But if you have networks like a Doge sitting at 75 billion 5 years ago, you can only imagine Canton Network, which has absolutely crushed it with the real world asset tokenization, sitting at 5 billion. So Crux, I am trying to nickel and dime this one. I want the 5 billion to come down to like maybe 3.5, and I am buying. And that's honestly, this thing could go, it could go from 5 all the way up to the 75, and I would miss it. I would miss that whole pump because I got greedy trying to go and wait for 3.5. So I'm not telling you guys to do what I do, but I'm telling you, I got 90% of my crypto sub 25K last bull market. And the only reason I could do that is because I stopped buying every dip. I didn't buy, I bought once last year, none this year, and I'm not even close to buying yet. So people, I think once you've moved as much crypto as I have, again, I'm not trying to sound big headed here. I've done single transactions on the Ethereum network, moving hundreds of thousands of dollars in a single click. We're talking single 24-hour periods where my portfolio is up or down that much. Eventually you become numb to it. So a lot of you guys, you see your portfolio sitting at like 5K, maybe 10K, and it's up or down like $200, $300 on the day, and it hurts you. It's all relevant. It's what you've been through that's really going to form like how well you're able to perceive the markets. But I'm telling you, the most lethal people are the people that have been there, done that, and they know what it feels like. Especially losing, I think, 700K or so in the last bear market. So, I mean, you go through stuff, it's tough. But you also go through the highs and lows. I made 1.3 million in under 6 months in this space. So I'm just here to tell you guys my story, and let's continue going through these comments. All altcoins list. Yep, link gotta be the last. V Hunt, I know I upset you with it, but I did talk to you about why Chainlink in particular did not make my list. I think it's also a good cryptocurrency. Make sure you subscribe to the Crux of Crypto. Set your notifications so you don't miss anything that I put out. I agree, Angel. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thoughts on XPL? I think it's very undervalued. So Ricky Romero, let's quickly look at this one. I know I'm about 67 minutes past the top of the hour, but I'm going to make sure that I hit all of y'all's stuff. So Plasma is essentially a stablecoin network. Now, in the age of the Clarity Act and the Genius Act, that's whenever networks like this should be thriving. We're sitting about 265 million market cap, so it's down quite a bit. Go back to market cap instead of price. All right, so we're down quite a bit. This is a new project that did not get to flourish. We see it launched over there in like October, September timeframe of last year. And the day it launched, I was definitely covering it. So Plasma, if I'm not mistaken, the founder of is that one? So a co-founder of Tether. Give me one sec. Let me see if I can quickly find this. I'm pretty sure a co-founder of Tether is the founder of Plasma Network. So it was not going to show on the front. Anyways, I'm pretty sure it is. It has to be. So yes, if you can go fact check this, by the way, if a co-founder of Tether created a stablecoin network, and they shifted the way that they back their tokens, they're tokenized. So USDT is like 12% gold. It's like it has a good amount of Bitcoin. It's pretty speculative in terms of what they're holding, but they're like second to none in terms of how big or how much like commodities they own, how big or how well they're doing. They're second to none. They're just doing well overall, Tether is, as a company. This guy branches off. He tokenizes his with safer yield. So I don't think he's going to chase the Bitcoins and the golds of the world like Tether is, but he has an understanding on what quote unquote stablecoin 2.0 is. I think this is I'm just going to throw that out there, an okay stablecoin network to be able to invest in, but I wouldn't hold it as like one of 15 or even 20 different cryptocurrencies. So, I mean, take with that what you will, but yeah, so let's go ahead and continue on and read some more of these comments. Caspa is still developing, says Wyatt. Yes, it is. And every month I drop a new Caspa video. I'm getting thousands of views on these things. This community loves me. So I like Caspa, and I'm going to continue supporting them the way they support me. XRP is the second most popular crypto. Don't count out Brad, says Mike. That's true. That is true. Creative loves hype. There you go, says V Hunt. Alrighty, let's continue. Dang, there's a lot of comments. All right, need 3 honorable mentions. So y'all are trying to get Crux to go from 7 to 10, but I'm sure y'all love it. So 3 honorable mentions quickly off the cuff. that did not make this list. So let me pull this up. Go back here. I'm going to stick with the blue chips on this one. 3 honorable mentions that did not make my top 7 list. I kind of want to throw Avalanche in there. I don't want to go too far down. All right, so Ave's definitely going to be there. I think Ave's going to be one. Pepe. I already know you guys are pissed. I know you're mad. Pepe is going on that top 10 list. I said it here first. Why? Earlier I talked a lot about the Clarity Act, and it's going to stifle innovation in the meme coin space. If over 20% of the tokens go to a single wallet or the founders, so it goes to a centralized unit, it's deemed a security. So they're going to be regulated by the SEC as opposed to the CFTC, like most of these other networks like an XRP or a Cardano that got grandfathered in, and meme coins are going to be stifled. So what does that mean? The existing meme coins now that get grandfathered in are going to be big winners. And why am I choosing Pepe over Doge or Bonk or all these other ones? It's because it is that new era meme coin. So most of the time we have like a Sheeb that pops up. It does okay this bull market. It didn't even do as well as Bitcoin did or Doge. So that's kind of like that, still that first era meme. I think the Bonks and the Pepes are going to be the ones going forward on where I would put my risk in terms of meme coins. And then an honorable mention to these two, if you didn't want Pepe in particular, an SPX 6900 or a Brett. So again, those aren't going to make all 3 my top 10, but swapping one of those 3 meme coins, Pepe, SPX 6900 or Brett, I think those are going to be your best bets over there. And then a third pick, I like Ondo a lot, but I already have Canton and XRP, so I've already covered that space. Do I want Morpho? It's a little too speculative. I'm gonna pass Morpho. I like it though. Let's go ahead and just make it easy. We'll go with Avalanche on this one. So Avalanche ended up beating my Cardano pick. So I did Avalanche versus Cardano across 11 critical categories. And it was a tough one, very tough, because I personally like Cardano more. But I had to go off of the amazing partnerships that Avalanche has, the scalability subnets that Avalanche has on its XC and Y chain. And so it's I think those are the 3 letters. I just like the infrastructure. But in terms of, again, solving the trilemma, I think Cardano is more set for it. So, I mean, I don't know. You guys let me know. Avalanche or Cardano. And then let's go ahead and read a couple more of these. Still got some dang, 55 of you guys. All right, so we're going to continue as long as the viewership is high. And let's go ahead and give a quick recap on what my 7 different cryptocurrencies are that your boy Crux chose. Here you go. And I also gave a quick reason and explanation on why I did it. You can go back and watch this after this. I'll timestamp it. But these are my 7 cryptos. None of them have been replaced yet. I'm right now taking suggestions on which ones you would replace, but we're having some troubles. Now, my 3 honorable mentions I just mentioned. So let's go 3 honorable. 3 honorable. We're going Pepe, which is a meme coin. I'll go Pepe / SPX / Brett. I think those are going to be 3 winners. So those, I'm going to go AVAX / Cardano, ADA. And then for the third, I said Aave. So there could be 3 honorable mentions. And then your 7 picks up there on what 7 currencies I think are going to be the best going forward in the next bull market. Thank you, Keenly. October 10th was the biggest liquidation event in crypto history. I bought on October 11th. And guess what? Uniswap, Aave, these were down 50% in a single 24-hour period, and I bought the bottom. I even bought, so there's a crypto project out there called IP Story, and it's like AI infrastructure. They focus like AI agents. I don't know so much about LLMs yet, but That thing was down 60% that day, and I bought it, and the next day it went up like another 30%. So I made a huge return on that one. Um, I still don't think the bear market bottom is in, but the one time I bought last year, I crushed it. I absolutely crushed it. I bought 6 different plays, and one of them was Brett. So the biggest liquidation event in crypto history happened, and Crux bought a JPEG cat. Crazy, 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 crazy. We're talking about the US dollar in 5 years losing 25% of its value. And I'm over here chasing memes. But you have to understand there is a reason why Dogecoin hit 75 billion market cap. There is a reason. And fate loves irony. So I'm gonna leave it at that. There's a reason that communities have value. So people that are fudding out meme coins, I don't know. We go back and look at the best performing categories of this last bull market, and I promise you, meme coins were top 5 niche. They're up there. They did better than AI. They did better than really just every other niche. Probably a top 1 niche, if anything. Maybe real world assets did a little better. I don't know. All right. Can't believe no link. So V Hunt's a little upset about that one. V Hunt, I definitely clarified it why I didn't do link. 2 things: the centralization and the tokenomics. All right, not buying XRP till sub $1. What's your take on H bar for the next bull run, says Sean? So how I evaluate the ISO 2022 compliant cryptocurrencies, going from like XDC to Algorand to H bar to XRP, XLM, all of these cryptocurrencies, they move in tandem. So bringing my chart back up, if I look at XLM, and I look at I think it was September of 2024. Let's go back. Okay, so it was maybe November. So right here, you see that big pump, this wick right here. That was the ISO 2022 pump. That happened from Gary Gensler. So keep in mind, some of these cryptos, some do like a 5x, some do like a 7x. I think XRP did a 7x. H bar did a 9x. So whenever these ISO 2022 compliant cryptos pump, H bar does the best. Which this is what it looked like here. This is that same pump. They all pumped. It was pretty crazy. And the reason I like H bar is I think it's the most, well, you got a first mover in terms of like DAGs, decentralized acyclic graphs, but it's different than like how Caspa's like web-like structure happens. They use a hash graph, which is again different than like the ghost consensus algorithm that Yonatan Sampolinsky created. I like the governance of what Hedera is. It's like centralized, but it's not. It's like 33 different companies that have 2 4-year terms, very similar to like how presidents work. And then after that second term, they can no longer have consensus of that network. So if you have like an IBM or a Google or a Microsoft that are running 3% of the consensus, it's decentralized, but it's decentralized with people that understand what's happening. So right now with Cardano, it's decentralized among everybody. So people that are not very smart have rights to governance. I'm not calling ADA holders, dumb, but this is it's like a centralized approach to promote decentralization. It's the smart people that are not going to make the wrong decisions or make the best decisions with the people in mind, but decentralizing it that way. So I like their counsel, and I like Lehman Barrett as well. So I think H bar could definitely be in that top 10. If you want to go back to my honorable mentions over here, where they get a Pepe, an SPX or Brett, an ADA, AVAX, Aave. If you replace any of those with like a chain link that I talked about earlier, or an H bar, I would not be mad at all. If you threw H bar over any of these projects, I'd be a little upset. I'll be honest. I don't think H bar has proven itself yet. It's had the same amount of bear markets. Actually, I think it's had one more bear market. Yeah, it's had one more bear market than XRP has. And XRP hit a new all-time high this cycle. So even like the Dino cryptocurrencies, I can't put H bar over it. So anyways, it could make a top 10. Let's just leave it there. Let's go ahead and go back into the comments. Strike, bro. Way better tokenomics. Yes, no one knows but USDCX and Layer Zero still cross chain. Ada Ace, I love Cardano. I broke down Cardano in a 13-minute segment better than anybody in crypto. I talked about USDCX. I talked about the Layer Zero partnership. I talked about the Laos upgrade that's going to increase the throughput by a 50x. I talked about Midnight. I talked about Mithril. I talked about Hydra. Bruh, I got this. I got this. And I love that you're here supporting it and appreciate everything you do, Ada Ace. Great info. I chat. Don't mind. Thanks for the detailed reply. Appreciate it. Yeah, of course, Creative. Thank you for being here. Is the most. Look at the Nakamoto. Yeah, so Ada Ace is specifically talking about the Nakamoto coefficient. That is a way to like put a value on decentralization because within decentralized networks, or within like, if I wanted to value how decentralized a network is, the number one metric is how many centralized entities do I need to take captive of to control the network. And networks with, let's just say, validator nodes and these types of things are definitely put as part of that formula. And the higher the Nakamoto coefficient, which I'll quickly show you here, the higher the Nakamoto coefficient, typically the more decentralized a network will be. So quickly look at what let's just quickly Google Nakamoto coefficient. And then, by the way, y'all should not be doing what I'm doing right now. See, I don't even know what this Nakaflow website is, but I'm going to click it. Y'all should not be doing that. All right. So your boy Ada Ace is absolutely right. But I didn't disagree. And if you go and watch my Cardano video, I say Cardano is 100% a top 3 decentralized and decentralized and secure network in all of crypto. It is highly undervalued. And this is proof. Now, actually, if I filter it, well, so you got Avalanche here, which is 27. And I do talk about Avalanche's Nakamoto coefficient higher in that showdown. So that's another video that you want to go check out. Thor Chain, I would stay away from that one. Solana, I'm not going to stay away from Solana, but I would say these are, I don't know if it really has a 19. But like I said, Sui and Solana, they're like brothers. They are always similar in every nature. And you can see even the Nakamoto coefficient's right there, 19 and 18. So that's basically what the Nakamoto coefficient means. Let's see how many viewers I have. Still 50, so we'll keep going. If I drop under 45, I am ending the live stream. But until then, you got me. So I'm already 83 minutes past the live stream. So, but you guys are loving it. So XRP is in my top 7. Ripple is in bed with the White House, 100%. So Brad Garlinghouse, Stuart, what's his name? And then, who is that? Well, yeah, those are your main two guys. Like Stuart and Brad, those like your mouthpieces of Ripple Labs. And they are right there eating dinner with Donald Trump. You have like David Schwartz, he's been vocal. I actually appreciate his approach to what all this is. He's on X, not scared to talk about the Epstein files or even reference them. So that's crazy. I definitely like David Schwartz's approach to that. Creative is actually, he likes this information. So I prefer Astra, more upside in my opinion. Mr. J, I understand. If you had Astra over Hyperliquid, that's fine. I actually own, well, no, I own more Hype than Astra. But both of those are solid. Crux does not mind us chatting here. Creative Bugs. Engagement is a good thing. It is. It really is. I'm trying to grow my channel, and I will one day be one of the biggest content creators out there. So you guys are like you're like practice. So I'm allowing y'all to challenge my 7 different ideas, and y'all are taking an L right now. So I'm gonna need y'all to step up and give me some good cryptocurrencies to knock off my top 7. Subscribe to Crux, says Angel. Shannon, what up, brother? Let's go. I'm riding with Crux of Crypto on this one. So Shannon, appreciate you being here. Much love, brother. And thank you for the support that you're giving this community. So, yeah, my top 7 list is pretty dope. Pepe looks like it might cook this run for a meme play. Yeah, I definitely answered that one. Toshi says Angel. Toshi, Pepe, SPX. Those are your 3 meme coins with the best probability going to this next bull market. I think Bonk can be up there as well. So after those 3, I'd go Bonk and Whiff. So I go top tier, Pepe, SPX, Toshi. Second tier, Bonk, Whiff. Boom. That's it. All right. Everything else is going to be more risky in terms of reward. But, I mean, heck, Dogecoin. Dogecoin's right there at that second tier. I don't think it's going to be able to compete with the Pepe in terms of ROI. But don't sleep on Doge. Let's go look at the Doge chart real quick. So go back here. Let's go to CoinGecko to check this one out. Bitcoin did a 8.5x from 15.5 all the way to so 15.5 all the way to 126K did an 8.5x. Very few cryptocurrencies were able to do an 8.5x, including your Cardanos, etc. So if we go from a bear market low, let's go by price. If we go from a bear market low, let's just say 5 cents, and it got all the way up to 45 cents, that's a 9x. It almost got a 10x, Doge did. So even with this high market cap of 15 bill, it outdid Bitcoin. So all we're trying to do with this market is outcompete Bitcoin. That's all altcoins are for. So none of them are safer than Bitcoin. All of them are more risky. So if you're going to invest into them, then you better be ready for the volatility. And Dogecoin, it's at 10 cents now, so it's 2x from its previous bear market winter. There's a lot of altcoins out there. Let's look at Cardano real quick. Is Cardano currently lower now than it was in its last bear winter? It's close. It is sitting at 29 cents. Last bear winter, I think it went to like 25 cents. So again, I'm not picking on Cardano here. Go to the screen. Last bear winter went to 25 cents. If I go lower, like right in here, 24 cents, 24. Right now it's in at 30. So there's some cryptocurrencies that are getting very close to their previous bear winters. And that is a telltale sign. So for the most part, it's because they didn't pump as hard during the bull market. So if Cardano would have pumped harder and got past the 110 mark, which I was really, really rallying for Cardano to get to that $2 barrier, it didn't get there. So really, we just got to hope midnight comes through and it does its thing. That's really our last, and hope USDCX and layer 1. And also Fireblocks. We haven't even talked about Fireblocks. So the institutional liquidity comes in. There is hope for Cardano. Pudgy, says Angel. I like Pudgy. I would, Pudgy's up there in that second tier. Angel, I give you the benefit of the doubt. I said that second tier was Whiff, Bonk. Let's throw Pudgy in there. I think Pudgy is a good NFT/meme community to buy. Not as good as Pepe, SPX, or Brett. Render with NVIDIA bid. Oh my God, Brett over Toshi. Oof. Oh, whoa. Yeah. All right, Angel. My bad. I kept saying Brett like this entire live stream. I meant Toshi. Sorry. Toshi over Brett. Thank you for correcting that. I appreciate. Brett's not even in that second tier. I think Brett is probably in like the third tier, somewhere down there. So my bad. It is Toshi, SPX, and Pepe as that tier 1. Whiff. What did I say? Whiff, Bonk, and then Pudgy, tier 2. Everything else further down. Any thoughts on Layer 0 and Tau? Cord, you'll definitely have to so here's my top 7 list over here. So Tau's already on there. You'll have to go back and watch this live stream after it's done. I'll timestamp it. I'm an hour and a half into this live stream, but I'm still going because I have a ton of you guys in here. And if I drop under 45 viewers, I'll probably end it. But till then, you have my attention. Layer 0 is just too speculative as of a project. There's a lot of good interoperability plays in crypto, from like Wormhole to Pendle. There's some good interoperability plays that provide liquidity to a lot of networks. but layer zero just isn't it. It's a solid infrastructure play. It is not a solid investment in terms of top 7 cryptocurrencies. But I don't think it's a bad play overall. If I had 20 different cryptos, maybe it makes the list. Just highly speculative, have less than 1% of your portfolio in that one. And that's not financial advice. Render. So Angel, this is the first time anybody said render in the chat. And the reason render didn't make this list is because I have patience for all last bull market. If you're around, I talked about 3 different use cases for AI. LLMs, think of ChatGPT. GPU compute, think of like Google Cloud. And then AI agents. So like think of Moltbook, for example. So these 3 use cases exist in crypto too. Now, we have to figure out which one's going to be the most valuable. Tau does 90% of what render and virtuals does. So like all the AI agents that you can do on virtuals, all the 3D rendering you can do on render, you can already do on Tau through their 125 different subnetworks. That's why Tau is a clear winner. It made my list. Virtuals is close. So virtuals I have over render. So I have Tau, virtual, render in terms of AI. And at, all last bull market, I said 10% of a portfolio, 3.33% in each of these. So I had them equal. Now I'm more like, I still think 10% of a portfolio in AI is fine. I think I'm more like 6, 2, and 2. So 6% into Tau, 2% into like a render, and then 2% into a virtual. Or if you wanted to even throw like 3% into a virtual and 1% into a render, that's cool. But that's how I would handle that one for sure. Render is not going to be in my top 7. I like what Jules, who's the founder of it, has done. And there's some ties there with Octane into NVIDIA, but I don't know. All right, and if NVIDIA does very well going into this next bull market, then render will do very well as well. So Algorand says Shannon. So Shannon's bringing up Algorand. I briefly talked about it a little earlier with the ISO 2022 pump. It did okay. So your biggest winner, I think, was HBAR. XLM did pretty good too. I think XLM did an 8x, and we're talking within a 1 month period. HBAR did a 9x from November into December of 2025 or 2024. Sorry, when Gary Gensler resigned. Algorand did like a 7x or a 6x. It did one of the worst. It was down there with XRP, but XRP has a way bigger market cap. I like Sylvia Macaulay. He's a Turing Award winner. There's a lot going on in his life, but this one's a little tough. Like he was highly favored by Gary Gensler's SEC. We have to be honest about this. When Gary Gensler was talking about good cryptocurrency projects, who was the one that was pushing ESG compliance? Not to get political on here, but Gary Gensler highly favored Algorand. Algorand highly favored ESG. And we have to look at who was tied into this stuff at that time. So Algorand, I think it has a couple cool apps on there, but it's definitely not going to make anywhere near my top 10. And we'll see. We will see. I think there's going to be a resurgence in Dino cryptocurrencies. So Dino cryptocurrencies, a lot of people fell off because like the Cardanos, XRPs of the world, they didn't perform as well as like the Solanas and the Suis. So people grew old, but I think whenever the Clarity Act passes and all of those Dino cryptocurrencies get grandfathered in, you can bet your butt they're all going to do well. I think this next bull market is going to be Dino Crypto Haven. It's going to be Dino Crypto Haven. That's what it is. And your Algorand's going to do well. HBAR is going to do extremely well. XRP, Cardano, there's going to be a resurgence in these cryptocurrencies that need life because they have proven they could survive bear winters. Even if they didn't set a new all-time high in, they survived a bear winter, and that speaks volumes because 99% of cryptocurrencies do not. And if I look at the top 10 cryptocurrencies in 2017, top 10, only 6 of them remain from your top 10. If I look at the top 10 from 2021, there goes Terra Luna, There is possibly Cardano. Cardano is kind of like iffy. It's like 10, 12, 9. It's like up and down. Um, and then there's one other one. So, anyways, every single 4 years, you lose about two of the top 10 cryptocurrencies because time moves on. And not everything can win. And I think there's going to be a lot of those cryptocurrencies that got hurt in the past are going to make a resurgence. And that's my hope. And that's why I still believe in altcoins. Thoughts on Tau sub Cordell? Definitely watch this. I talk a lot about the subnets. There's one in particular called Templar. It's a subnet. I think if you wanted to diversify a little bit, that's fine. All right, creative. I am now in a mess. One of my exchanges do not give me withdrawals. Staking is poor. Coins are down 50%. Crux, do you have any thoughts? Anything to improve my situation? Creative bug, I hear you. This is coming from somebody who lost 700K in 3 weeks. So May of 2021. We know that was like the initial peak. So I made a ton of money real quick and I lost a good amount of it. And I continued holding into November. So I did actually pretty well last bull market overall. It's tough. I'll be honest with you, but just remember this. You're down 50% on cryptocurrencies. You're not alone. I'm holding a ton of crypto right now. I'm down on all the crypto I'm holding right now. My thoughts would be to continue to learn, be in this space with high conviction, and then plan for the future. So if you use the 4-year cycle like I do, and I think October is going to be a 40K Bitcoin, I'm not buying at these prices, and I dump everything. I have pretty close to 6 figures currently, ready to dump whenever Bitcoin hits I have like 5 different key indicators that I'm probably put like 20% of whatever allocation I have when all 5 of these hit. So for example, in October of this year, I put 20% in. Whenever the long-term holders catch up to the realized price of Bitcoin, this 20%. Whenever we hit like the 200-week moving average, boom. Alrighty. So I have like 2 other ones, and I talk about it on other different videos. Definitely check out my content or just stick around because you'll get the alpha over time. But that's how to improve your situation is reverse psychology. Understand why you're here. And as it's going down, I'm actually in a better mood. You see, I'm highly happy. I'm bringing the energy today. And that's because the prices are down. Overall, I mean, they're up in the past like 48 hours. But I think they're going to go down further, and I want them to because I'm ready. And I actually created a video in October of this year. I talked about 0.1%, or just all you need is 0.1 Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes to $40,000 in October, all you need is $4,000, and you can buy your piece of Manhattan. So whenever Bitcoin is $10 million one day, and you bought that 0.1 Bitcoin, you were able to get $1 million on your Bitcoin with a $4,000 investment, which is absolutely insane. I don't know if that math is mathing right. Or is it 100K? I think it's 100K. Anyways, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Smash that like if this is your first time here. Make sure to subscribe. I bring the alpha all the time. I switched up different on this live stream because I like this, not only the engagement, but I think it's better and more healthy for you guys to go over this than just to ramble on about the news of what's happening in Iran. There's enough people covering that stuff. There's not a lot of people, if any, that can do what I do here with you guys and answer off the cuff. So I see Daniel in the house. Toshi Army is here. Yes, Toshi Army is here. I've mentioned Toshi many times. I accidentally mentioned Brett up there with it. Brett is in that 3rd tier. Toshi is in that top tier. So I love me some Toshi. Cordell. Thoughts on Zebek? I think Zebek Network is a solid project. I've looked into it multiple times. I think as like TradFi gets the rails of cryptocurrencies and allows you to use like their cards, like their credit cards or their debit cards, especially the prepaid ones, I think there's a use case there. So Zebek definitely has a use case, and I think it's an okay project. So it's not good, it's not great. Well, I would consider it a good project. It's not okay, it's good, it's not great. We'll throw Zebek there. Toshi have their own MVNO from World Mobile. Okay, that's cool. A to Ace. My bad, Crux. I prefer lower market caps as Mr. J. Toshi #1 says Angel. I got a big Toshi army in here. Shannon. Love the perspective, Crux. Dino Coin Resurrection. Scholastic Park 5. Was that 4? That's a 4. Yeah. I think the dinos will resurrect, and we will see if Crux is right. The Clarity Act will definitely, it's setting everything up. The Clarity Act is absolutely setting everything up for the older cryptocurrencies to do well. And that's what I appreciate most about Charles Hoskinson, because Charles Hoskinson can go do what Brad Garlinghouse has done. Brad has said, forget crypto, me and the banks, that's it. Charles is right there. He could do that. He's already created, he was a co-founder of Ethereum. You know, he's already cemented himself in the crypto greats, and he has decided to do the other thing. He says, I want these people who created blockchain in 2027 to not be considered securities because I want competition and let the best win. So Brad's over here trying to stifle innovation, and Charles is like, let's up it. Let's bring it up. Let's turn up the heat a little bit. So I always appreciate Brad Garlinghouse's approach. So Angel says, thank you, Crux. All right. You are doing well spoken, or you are very well spoken and do a great job. Thank you. Yeah, Servant, appreciate you. That is awesome. And I love your name, by the way, Servant for the King. I'm definitely a big believer in Jesus Christ here, and appreciate you coming to my channel. Daniel, your top 7 is missing Kita. All right. Quick little recap. So top 7's over here. It is missing Kita, but it's for a reason. I did give Kita its spotlight earlier, talked about it for about 5 minutes. And I do think like Kita is a solid project. If you wanted to diversify some of those XRP holdings into Kita, that's okay. Because those are going to be like your 2 payment networks or your liquidity layers that are on this list. So that's fine. Now, if you did that, I would hold like 90% of that into XRP and that 10% go into Kita. And that's about it. But yeah, I mean, Kita Army, I'm actually one of the biggest content creators for Kita right now. I haven't been recognized yet, and I get it. It's because your boy Crux talks about Caspa, I talk about Chainlink, I talk about Sui, I talk about everything. And a lot of times communities don't like that. They want me to be loyal to one, and that's just something I'm not going to do. Something else I'm not going to do is take paid sponsorship. So everything I talk about, I do not take any cryptocurrency from anybody. I've already made it. You know, I've already made it. I don't need it. And I'm just here to help you guys. And also, I love what I do. So that's why I'm pretty highly energetic and optimistic about this space. Thank you, Crux. Great live as always, says Angel. Okay. Caspa Banter is running a live stream at the same time. Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe you can watch mine later or his later, whoever. I don't mind competing with whoever. It is what it is. I'm not on here for the most views. I'm on here to speak my story, and people they'll find me. They will find me. Crux is number 1, says Angel. I don't know. Let the community decide. I mean, I do have one of the fastest growing crypto channels, so they need to recognize the Kita Army over here. I think the Kita Army does need to come over here. You know, every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard, I'm going live. I'm bringing a lot of eyes to the space. I have multiple Kita videos with over 3,000 views. I'm not butthurt. I'm not hurt if the Kita Army doesn't come and support me. I mean, they're clearly supporting me in the numbers and the comments, so I don't want that to be misconstrued. I mean the higher ups. So I'm not going to drop names, but as I keep growing my platform and I don't give up on this project, who knows? Maybe I get mentioned somewhere at some time. Now, there is this Twitter channel called Keetalk, Keetalk. You can find them on Twitter. They do a weekly, I believe it's weekly, like Twitter space, and they bring in a lot of different people in the community, and I've been there. So we just celebrated Kita's first birthday, its anniversary together, and that was pretty fun. So I was able to see a lot of the big key leaders, the X-Secures and the Zanos and all those big names. So they definitely know who I am, and that's pretty cool. Appreciate your Crux. Dinner is calling, brother. See you in the VIP chat. Appreciate you, Shannon. All right. So I still have a lot of you guys in here, but I have to get going. Let me do a formal way to like end this live stream. So real quick, these are my 7 cryptocurrencies. Y'all brought up a ton of good crypto projects to try to knock these 7 out. I was not able to. Y'all didn't give me a good enough reason for me to select and change any of these 7. But what I did do is add those honorable mentions over there, and you can handle those however you would like. Between the Pepe, SBX, and Brett, choose one of those. The AVAX or the ADA, choose one of those. And then I think Ave would make a good honorable top 10 play if I had to. Real quick, I do have a VIP trading group. Shannon just referenced it over there in the comments, and we have over 500 active traders in there who are still able to make money as the markets are going down. It's called shorting, and we teach that. So we teach that in the academy, which is the 2nd tier. And this takes your trading from rookie to pro. And then lastly, there's the Gem Hunters. This is a group that I specifically lead. And I'm super happy for whenever we go into the next bull market, because the Gem Hunters, I'm telling you, we are going to absolutely crush it going into the next bull market. Right now, it's kind of bear winter, so not everybody's super happy on that one. But, I was going to give a quick update. I went too long-winded, but let's just say April is probably when I expect the next part. Well, possibly, if we don't get all the way to October of this year for bear winter, April is going to be the highest probability that the bear market ends. And that's because it's the highest probability that the Clarity Act passes. So Easter is a big time frame. Banks versus crypto. This video just dropped yesterday, and it is awesome. So if you don't know much about the Clarity Act, I explain it here. And what I do in this video is I give my take at the end and through the clips, but I take a ton of different clips with people that are much more bright than I am. Highest regulators, Jamie Dimons, the Brian Armstrongs of the world. They're the ones who have this video, and I give my takes in between. So check that one out after this. And don't know what I had. Okay, so that would be it. So I appreciate all of you guys tuning in. I will put timestamps on this video. This is by far my longest live stream, and I had a ton of viewers. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you guys for spending time.